Hello and welcome to yet another session of the speaking module of this course in English. One of the usual situations where we need to talk in English is while appearing at or conducting an interview. You know, many of you may be young, may not have conducted an interview, but age is no bar for you to be on the other side of the table. You can interview your classmates, your friends, your colleagues, your juniors, and your seniors. And informally, you perhaps often do that. Also, try and do so formally and see what it takes to ask and answer good questions. Life is an is a huge, big laboratory full of chances. Take some of them, make an experiment, interview one another, and enjoy yourselves and see if there were any points for learning. But an interview is an important milestone in your life. Next. What does it mean? What's the meaning of the word interview? You know, if you look up a dictionary, it gives you more or less this kind of meaning. It's a meeting of people, maybe one between two, like a press reporter interviewing the prime minister or the president or anybody else, or it's a group of people interviewing a candidate for a job, etc. So it's a meeting of people face to face. Now, online interview is becoming popular, which is again, quote unquote, face to face in a different way. So it is especially in the nature of consultation. You check with one another if this is right, if this can be done, if this will be acceptable, if this should be part of the package. Okay, so that sort of consultation about expected items happen at this meeting. So what is the occasion? It's a meeting. Among who? Among people who generally don't work together, and usually face to face, now also becoming popular as online occasions, and then on a given subject, on a given topic. Okay, so that is an interview. But success at an interview is extremely important, almost as important, almost, not exactly, almost as important as success at academic examinations and academic studies. Your certificate showing that you are at first class, that you are an A grade or A plus grade will definitely bring you jobs. But better jobs and still better promotions, still faster rise in life would come if you also have good interviews. Okay? Good academic records are important. Nobody can deny that. But they alone are not enough. You must also be good at answering questions at interviews. Here in this session today, we are going to talk about the fundamentals of doing well at interviews, very basic bottom points of doing well at interviews, because many people, many people, many young as well as many old men, many old people also feel frightened at interviews. They feel intimidated. They start sweating, perspiring, become nervous, can't recall their own names, can't recall when they were born, when they passed BA or BSc or BTech. and such similar things which otherwise is on the back of their hands, right? They're so terribly worried. Actually, go next. Actually, we need not. You know, you need not be worried. It's a conversation. All interviews are conversations of a formal nature between two or more people who do not know one another very well. Okay, that's about all. It's just a conversation. And in the course of that conversation, the interviewer wants to know. So, I mean, you can ask, what does an employer want an interview? Why is he wasting time? No, he's not wasting time. Or why does a professor conduct an interview before accepting a research scholar? Okay, the degree should be enough. Or why do some people interview others before taking them as partners in projects? Okay, you know, research projects, business projects, expeditions, adventures, variety of things. In India, even in many Asian countries, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Thailand, Japan, interviews before marriage, whether the two families are acceptable to one another, whether the bride and the bridegroom are acceptable to each other, you know. So interviews are those occasions where we get to know one another better, and we ask and answer questions to satisfy ourselves that this person can meet our expectation, or that I can meet this person's expectations. I can get so much here, so much not here. This is the kind of work I may have to done. It's a consultation, as the dictionary says. Go on. So the answer is, an interview is conducted because the interviewer wants to share their perspective, his or her perspective, with prospective employees, with the employees, with the candidates that may become an employee in that company. Okay, and all those on the selection committee may have to work with this person. So, before accepting this person, only on the merit of, only on the basis of some paper certificates, let us also see if that person can speak well, if that person has good social manners, if that person can take surprise questions, and, occasionally also test this person's knowledge and experience in key areas. That is the precise purpose behind all interviews. Even newspaper interviews, articles are focused. You want to know what the president, prime minister, or a celebrity thinks upon a given subject, and you share that. Why did he or she decide that way? And you share this information, this knowledge with your readers, with your listeners, with your viewers, if you are doing this interview on television. Okay, so an interview is conducted to share expectations, to check fitness of candidates for the job. Candidates appear at interviews because they want those jobs, those research scholarships, they want to join those projects, etc., etc. Now, with their education and experience, they have education and experience, but they would also like to know, the candidates would like to know, if there is anything specific to this company that I do not know of, and the company would like to see if there is anything specific to this man or this woman which is not there on that person's biodata. So this is an occasion of getting to know one another. Okay, and that is how an interview ought to be conducted, and that's how an interview ought to be answered, not with a sense of fright or greed or irritation or intimidation. No way. Okay, go on. Now keep these things in mind, and let us watch clips of at least two interviews. Okay, short, not very long. They may be about 2-3 minutes each. Okay, And as you watch, you can make a mental note of, or if you have paper, pen, your computer ready, your mobile phone ready, you can make note of some important questions, what they were asked. How did these candidates answer those questions? Did you like those answers? And if you did, why did you like those answers? What are they said? Also, pay somebody, you can rewind and listen to these interviews again. It's quite likely that many of you have already watched these clips. Okay, we have also taken them from net, as the link will tell you. Okay, and it's quite possible, quite likely that some of us have already watched these interviews. Even then, rewind and listen to these interviews this time again, once again, for their grammar, or do they speak grammatically correct language, even when perhaps or if the interviewers do not, whether the candidate's pronunciation is all right, whether the candidate is polite and polite enough. Okay, so ask yourself these questions and be ready to listen. Go on next. Okay, so the first we are playing from a movie called, both, I mean, one is an English movie, the other is a Bangla movie. But in that Bangla movie, the interview happens to take place in English. Okay, so we saw two clips of interviews in two different cultures of young people being interviewed by a committee of experts, gentlemen with knowledge, success, and confidence. Okay, you know, you, I'm sure you can make out that one of them is good interview and the other is not such a good interview. The candidate in both cases are also there, and you can check. But regardless of whether the interviewers are good or otherwise, the candidate has got to be good. What should the candidate do? What should one do so that one does well at interviews? Go to the next. These are the clues. Number one, be confident, be polite, be a good listener, be honest and frank, and take care of your appearance. Okay? Actually, all successful interviews become a result from a combination of all of, or most of, at least most of these factors. Let's look at them in some detail. Next, what is confidence? When are you confident? Can confidence be given? Can anyone give you, take 2 kilograms of confidence or take 2 liters of confidence? Nobody. It cannot be given, it cannot be taken, it can be created. Okay? How does that happen? That's happen because you know your subject well. You are sure, no matter what can they ask me such that I won't answer? And if you do not know, acquire knowledge at least about the part of the subject you have been certified to know, the part of the subject you are expected to know, the part of the subject for which you have a certificate, a degree, a testimonial saying that you should know. Okay, so that you can justify your certificate, your degree, your testimonial, your university, your college. So know your subject. There is no substitute for this kind of knowledge. Next, confidence comes only through knowledge and experience. Do it again and again, and as you do it faultlessly, as you grow and you are able to answer all questions, or when you are not able to answer all questions, as the candidate called Krish says in the first interview, okay, sir, it is possible I do not know the answers to all possible questions. Then I will tell you I do not know, and I will do my best to find the answer. Okay, so because that candidate has confidence in himself, so he raises his hands, requests the candidate, requests the selection committee to let him say this, and when given a chance, he says this confidently and politely. So, confidence is another name for your faith in yourself that you can do it, or in your friends, in your institution, in your company, that okay, given this job, we can do it. Given this job, we can do it in such and such time or at such and such budget. Next. So, acquire confidence. Similarly, be polite. Okay. What is politeness? Politeness is a sense of respect for the other person. It's also there in language, whether you are rude or, polite. It is also seen in language, but more than in language, it is seen in your sense of respect for the other person with you in that interview. Okay. And of course, if you respect the other person, it is highly unlikely that the other person doesn't respect you. Okay. And it shows in language, in more than one way, in the tone, in the choice of words, in the sentences, in the way people address one another, Then, if you want to learn how people sound polite, then you must listen carefully, must speak slowly. Do not interrupt anyone, until if you have to interrupt someone, raise your hand, take their permission, and then interrupt them, like we saw in the first interview, the Jay does, sorry, the Chris does. Okay. And do not be distracted. Do not feel irritated or interrupted. If you are interrupted, sometimes there may be provocative question. In the second interview, you might have noticed the interviewers ask randomly, not unconnected questions. What is your age? Could they not have seen how old this person is, because the biodata gives you all that kind of information. When did you pass BSc? Well, everything is given there. Okay. But sometimes people would ask you redundant questions. You can't just go and tell them that's a redundant question, that's a stupid question. You will very politely and very respectfully answer even those questions. Sometimes they can ask you plain provocative question. In the second interview, we saw one interviewer asks the candidate, "Are you a communist?" Oh, that's a personal question. It had nothing to do with my job. Okay. And the candidate very respectfully tells them, one does not have to be a communist to admire the people of Vietnam. The candidate does not say, that's a stupid question. Okay. So, don't allow yourself to be provoked or irritated if sometimes you are asked, unrelated questions, provocative questions, or when you are interrupted. Okay. Next. So, there are words indicating respect, words like thanks, sorry, please, pardon me. Okay, can I say something? May I please interrupt you? Okay, that sort of thing, by first raising your hands. Next, are you a good listener? Be a good. What are the characteristics of a good listener? What are the traits of a good listener? A good listener listens with total attention, so that in one listening, the listener remembers all that has been said. Just as we listen to our friends in very important moments of our lives. When we when we speak to or listen to our dear ones, near ones, loved ones, we listen to them with total attention. We understand one another in spite of language. How do we? Okay. No distraction. When you are talking to somebody, and checking your messages on your mobile phone or playing crossword puzzles or making notes, etc. No. Total good eye contact, easy, relaxed, but total attention. And no guessing. Allow the interviewer, allow your friend, allow the person on the other side of the table to complete their sentence, and then wait a decent 1 or 2 seconds, and then answer the question as best, as well actually as you know. Okay, you can make a mental note. You can say, how does one make a mental note? One does, you know just as I have been telling you, just as we remember which gate our flight would leave from, which platform our train would leave from, how late or timely is it or it is. Okay, so if you have relevant questions, your mind will make a note of those things. And in an online interview, as happens these days, you can make a note on your computer, on pen and paper, on your cell phone. Okay, so you can take proper notes, and don't even lose the thread of conversation. Next, if however there is a point or two or a word or an expression that for some reason you do not understand, then apologize, raise your hand, take their permission, interrupt and ask for clarification. Try and understand the question before you answer. And if you don't understand the question, then do not hesitate in saying, please pardon me, I do not understand the question. Can you tell me again? Okay, and then answer the question. Next. Many people say you should be honest. If you don't know something, tell them you do not know. Even if you haven't done something, who is going to check whether you worked for that project or you did it at your home? Well, you can always cheat. But many people say, be honest, be frank, and let people know what the situation is or was. As both the candidates we watched, one said he was at the police station, and the other said he was in medicine, but he quit. He also says why he quit. Okay. And some other people, of course, however, say that you don't have to be honest all the time. My experience, my understanding, and I have followed wise men in this matter. All the wise men, Gandhi, Buddha, Christ, Muhammad, anyone you think of, Nanak, Valluvar, everyone has said the truth is the best preparation, is the best tool for you to achieve anything. But I cannot decide that for you. You always have a choice. Life is such a thing that it gives you a choice. You can either be truthful or, quote unquote, you can be clever and you can get away. What you want to take is entirely your choice. Go on. But, I mean, it helps being honest, being frank, without being rude, of course. Continue to be polite and you do well at interviews. Next, appearance. Yes, in that first clip, of course, both of these clips are from films, and we might say they are unreal. They may be unreal, but is reality very different from them? My experience at having appeared at dozens of interviews and at having conducted dozens of interviews says that they are not unreal. Even real interviews happen like that. There are some good interviewers who ask you relevant questions, who ask you only about things they do not know about you. And there are other interviewers who ask you random questions, even those questions for which answers are already with them on pen and paper, okay, in black and white. But, if the candidate is good, the candidate takes care. So, appearance, there are no hard and fast rules. You should be appropriately dressed. And what is appropriate varies with culture, varied with gender. For men, one kind of dress is appropriate, and I am told that for women, another kind of dress is appropriate. Okay, and once again, it varies with profession, culture, community. All of those things. Community of doctors dresses one way, but the community of engineers dresses another way. The community of lawyers, summer or winter in India, they are always in a coat, in a jacket, black jacket at that. Okay. Doctors are mostly in white. Scientists are mostly in white. Air traffic personnel are in another color. Policemen in yet another. Army in yet another. So, these things differ. You can choose. I say, don't be overdressed. Don't be underdressed either. The truth lies somewhere in the middle. Whatever you wear should be clean, should be comfortable. The dress should not, or the absence of dress should not distract your interviewers. Neither should it distract your attention. Neither should it make you uncomfortable. Go on. We have created some mock interviews. Please look at those questions and write your, you can speak or write your answers. And if you feel happy and satisfied, then wonderful. You can conduct similar interviews with your friends, with your colleagues, with your family, or you can do them again and do them better. As I have been told and as I have been telling you, success in any walk of life is guaranteed, provided we pursue it with determination and honesty. Thank you and good luck.